This is the Nightshade Cult, a podcast macabre.
We bid you welcome. Enter freely and of your own will.
I'm Nick Grimm.
And I'm David Graves.
And we will be your horror hosts for this dissection of Lambert Hillyer's 1936 gothic horror, Dracula's Daughter.
Good evening.
So I've never actually watched this. I own it because it's on my Dracula DVD collection. But I've never watched this. And this is one of very few female Universal monsters.
Yeah, this was interesting. They were trying to capitalize on Dracula's success.
Yeah.
And they put in, a fair amount of money, about almost $300,000, and it went over budget and over time, and it disappointed them at the box office.
Yeah, they wanted to kind of repeat the success of Bride of Frankenstein, which had done really big business the previous year. But I don't know how deep you looked into the production. This one is pretty bumpy. They had a lot of problems with the censors.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of rewrites on the script, and they kind of started shooting with an incomplete script, which never really works. They were shooting with their third choice director, not first, and so
James Whale didn't want to do this. He kept sabotaging it.
Yeah, I've heard that, and I'm not entirely sure if that is true or apocryphal, but it is a fun story that he kept pushing and pushing for it to be more edgy and gayer, and just causing more and more problems with the censors with all of his additions.
Yeah, I mean, it's already pretty gay.
Yeah.
And for 1936, that's crazy.
Yes, it definitely has. I think maybe its reputation is larger than what's actually there in the content, but it definitely has queer subtext, and it has subtext about addiction to it, and it's pretty edgy for a Hays Code era movie, certainly.
And this is, you got to really kind of put it in context. So this is 1936. This is a Depression era movie.
Yeah,
this was coming out in pre-World War I or II.
Yeah,
but things were getting spicy already in Europe.
They're like, can you believe what that Hitler's doing over there?
Yeah, they were fully engaged in appeasement with the Rhineland and the Sudetenland and Czechoslovakia.
Yeah.
So all that stuff is, we've got American Nazi Party. Like this is like a weird time in history. It's a pressure cooker about ready to burst, and they're making like a big gay lady vampire movie.
Right. And they, the advertisements from the time period highlight that. They're like, she's on the prowl for sweet young girls. And so they're really sort of like playing into that aspect of it in the marketing.
Yeah, this is, if you kind of look it up or whatever, they claim that this is like the first lesbian vampire movie.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not overt, but it's pretty clear.
Yeah, I think so. It's the guy, Dr. J, Dr. Garth. Feels like a patch, like sort of like there has to be a guy she's pursuing, so it's not just she's just preying on young girls.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like it's pretty influential film for almost being a forgotten movie. I like Dracula, I like vampire movies, and I didn't really know about this movie. Yeah.
So,
and it's a direct sequel.
It picks up the moment after. Yeah. Then Helsing walks out of the tomb, and there's the cops.
Yeah, I do love that Renfield is at the bottom of the stairs with a broken neck, and he comes out, he's like, that is a lunatic who fell down the stairs. And he's like, in there's the body of Count Dracula. I rammed a stake through his heart. And they're like, what? Like, you can't do that. He's like, he's a vampire. I had to do it.
Yeah, it's great. The opening to this movie is fun. it never catches fire as far as the pacing goes.
No,
it starts amusing. It starts amusing and it starts like strong. I'm like, okay, this is going to be cool. And then it's just like, it's like I don't know. It's like a thriller, slow burn.
Yeah.
It's there's never really any action. I mean, the original Dracula doesn't have a ton of action, but it has some.
Yeah, there's a little bit of action at the end. We get like a little gunplay, a little bow and arrow action, but yeah, mostly it is just a psychological thriller.
Mm-hmm.
And it's sort of like almost, the genres are cousins to each other, but it's got a lot of noir to it as well as gothic.
Absolutely. I also thought it was really interesting that Gloria Holden did not like this role at all.
Yeah.
She thought she'd be typecast like Bela Lugosi. She didn't want to be seen. She didn't want to just be the woman Bela Lugosi.
Yeah. That's a fair concern, as it is, I think it was her second film.
Mm-hmm.
And
it's her first starring role.
Yeah. And she's under contract to Universal, so she has to take this job.
Yeah.
But she really doesn't want she doesn't want to be the lady vampire forever. And I mean, she did avoid that, luckily. And I almost wonder if that sort of reluctance doesn't inform the character, or the reluctant vampire that the Countess is. Like,
it seems
they kind of like her reluctance to be typecast in the role informs the way she plays the role in an interesting way.
Absolutely. It didn't really feel like she was leaning in on being a vampire,
Yeah, she doesn't do an accent really. I mean, they say she's a countess from Transylvania, but she just sort of has that 1930s movie star mid-Atlantic accent that they all do.
She does not sound like Bela Lugosi at all.
Yeah, so that was a choice as well. Yeah, it's interesting. So there's not a lot of female monsters in the canon.
Yeah,
and the only one you really see anymore is the Bride of Frankenstein. Yeah. But I was looking this up. I was like, what other ones are there? Because there are several. Most of them are derivative of a male character.
Okay.
So you have the Bride of Frankenstein, the Daughter of Dracula, the Invisible Woman, and the She-Wolf of London. So all of those are playing off of an existing movie, but it's like now the girl version.
Yeah, it's like She-Ra.
Yeah, and the only one that isn't is Paula the Wild Woman.
Okay.
Which there's 4 of those there's 4 Wild Woman movies, and this is another one that's semi forgotten and probably racially very problematic, or not probably. It certainly is very racially problematic.
Yeah, I've never seen that movie. Any of them?
I watched a short documentary on Aquanetta, the woman who plays Paula the Wild Woman.
Mm-hmm.
And so she was very interesting person, and a minor movie star, but just the racial subtext of those movies, I think, makes them a little bit of a third rail to really like put a big DVD box set out or something like that.
Yeah. People will be like, it's an exploitation movie.
Like, is that a movie about a biracial lady playing an ape woman? Because I feel uncomfortable about this.
Yeah.
It's like, well, technically, she's supposed to be a mutated gorilla. It's like, I don't think that made it better.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we can just pass on.
We can pass on Paula the Wild Woman. Yeah, I don't know if they even have a DVD release. So, well, why don't we roll the music and we'll get into the dissection. A Transylvanian countess travels to London to dispose of her father Dracula's remains in the hopes of freeing herself from his curse. When the affliction persists, she attempts to coerce a psychiatrist into helping her overcome her desires.
Yeah, it's a simple plot. but I gotta say, that jeweled ring, I want that.
It is pretty cool.
I want a hypnotizing ring.
Does the ring hypnotize people, or it's just a focus point that she uses her powers through?
I mean, I think it's probably it's Dumbo's feather.
Yeah, I think because Dracula just does the eyes.
Yeah,
and she kind of needs a little more.
She's not as powerful as her father. He's not as developed in her vampire abilities.
Yeah. Well, Van Helsing implies she's a couple hundred years younger.
Yeah.
I do think he just pulls that number out of the air when he's like, she was beautiful when she died 100 years ago. And it's like, you're just guessing. Come on. You don't know. You didn't even know she existed until she showed up and started preying on sweet young girls.
Yeah, it's a simple plot line, and it makes me wonder how this was what they decided on for the plot line, because it doesn't have a ton of conflict in it. Conflict is the engine of a plot, and this is fairly low conflict.
It's true. She has an internal conflict in that she doesn't want to be a vampire, and there's the external conflict of the police and Van Helsing want to stop the vampires from preying on girls.
But it never really boils up. It never really gets heavy, because every movie or every novel or whatever, your character needs to have a character arc.
Right.
There are characters that do not. There are iconic characters that start freeform, but that's not her. An internal conflict is part of her thing.
Yeah.
But you also need pressure on the outside. There's no pressure here. It's so chill.
It's, and I think that's in part because Van Helsing is arrested through the whole movie, basically on, not even suspicion of murder. He is admitted to a murder.
They're just trying to prove that Dracula is a person.
Yeah.
They could pin this on, because if he's really a dead count 500 years ago, you can't be charged with murder for that.
Yeah. But they at the start of the movie, at least, they have a body in their possession and a man that says, I just killed that guy.
Yeah.
And so, but then Countess Zaleska takes the body in order to, perform her funeral rites on it. And so they don't have any evidence to hold against Van Helsing, but he's still sort of out of the picture for most of the movie.
Yeah.
So we talked a little bit about the troubled road this movie takes. It's directed by Lambert Hillyer, with a screenplay from Garrett Fort based on a story by John Balderson. But there are 3 more people that did uncredited drafts on it. R.C. Sheriff, Peter Dunn, and Charles S. Belden kept doing revisions, submitting it to the censors, more revisions, submit to the censors, more revisions, submit again. And I think that's how, because this movie is just over an hour long, I imagine Balderson's script is quite a bit longer than that.
Yeah. And there was a whole rights thing going on with the rights. If they didn't film before, if they didn't begin by February of 1936, the rights would revert to MGM.
Right.
So Universal really had to get this handled, because MGM had basically bought a deleted chapter from Stoker's manuscript called Dracula's Guest from Florence Stoker.
Right.
And so they had the rights to make a Dracula movie based on this chapter, but they couldn't do it so long as Universal was holding the rights. So they were kind of rushing.
Yes. The Oliver Jeffries, who is that's an alias of David O. Selznick at MGM, really cockblocked Universal by buying the rights to this chapter of the book, or this excise chapter.
It's like Amazon buying the Silmarillion, but not Lord of the Rings.
But this is, I don't think that Selznick had any intent on making this movie. I think he
just wanted the rights.
He got to the rights holder, because Florence Stoker is still alive at this point.
Yeah.
He got to the rights holder to license the only thing that really is licensable out there, and have Universal over a barrel when it comes time to make a sequel. You need to come and pay us to get the rights to this thing. Yeah. And so it was one of those things. He bought it. It's studio corporate chicanery. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, and I agree. I don't think that if Stoker removed the chapter from Dracula, it wasn't one that was a keeper. It probably wasn't that good anyway, because the book Dracula kind of goes all over the place.
Yeah,
there's not a lot that got cut.
Yeah, my understanding, and I don't know if. Because it's out there. Dracula's Guest is out there, but I've never read it. But my understanding is the intent of the story, at least like the Balderston version, and I don't know if this comes from Dracula's Guest, was that Van Helsing would go to Transylvania to finish off the three brides, and he missed the coffin that had Countess Zaleska in it, because he knew that Dracula had three brides, but he didn't know she had a daughter, or he had a daughter.
Yes. Did anybody make a Dracula's son movie? Because it seems like ripe territory.
Son of Dracula with Lon Chaney Jr. That is a movie.
All right.
There's several more Universal, like Son of Dracula is probably the final Dracula in the title movie, but Dracula appears multiple times ongoing over the Universal monster movies.
The other day I was thinking about this when after watching this movie and thinking of derivative things and thinking, Dracula's in the commons at this point. You can kind of do what you want with it. It would be really fun to do a sort of comedy version, like a black comedy or something, but I would want to punch it up as have you heard that there's that Stephen Lynch song Craig Christ about Jesus's cooler brother Craig?
No.
It's really funny.
Okay.
It's obviously satire. Yeah. Just do one about Dracula's cooler brother, who's actually like kind of chill and easy to get along with, in the style of Craig Christ. I think there's something there. There's something there. He's like also from Transylvania, but he's chill.
Yeah, he's not like what's below a count? Like if your older brother is the count,
he might be like a baron.
Yeah, exactly. Okay.
That could be really fun.
Or a lord. Yeah.
It's like, I'm merely... Duke is above count.
Oh, Duke is above count.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Yes. Because a duke is a duke of a duchy.
Yeah, that's why the king's kids are dukes until they're, princes and dukes and all that.
Okay, that makes sense. Yeah. So Craig Dracula, what was he called?
It's Craig Christ, but I hadn't thought of a good first name.
Dave Dracula.
Dave Dracula. Because do we ever learn, is like Dracula got a first name in the...
Vladimir.
Is it in the original book?
Yeah, I believe so. Yeah, it's Vlad. There is some allusion to Vlad the Impaler in Stoker's book, but it is not ever explicit the way like.
So you need to give him like a cool Slavic name, like someone who's chill. Like this is Sasha Dracula.
Sasha Dracula.
he's a baron.
Yeah.
He had the crappier castle. It didn't have a view.
Sasha Dracula. I like that. That's there's something there that you could expand on.
Yeah, it seems like it would be amusing, and you can totally riff on Dracula and use the whole IP as you wish.
Yeah. And like you said, it is all public domain at this point. These movies, this movie's 90 years old. Like the movies are damn near in public domain.
Yeah.
So yeah, pretty soon you can just use the iconography of the movies without fear of reprisal from Universal.
Yeah. Anyway, so totally side John. Because I like this derivative stuff not because it's amazing, but because I just like vampire stuff and it's pretty cool and it looked really good. So I like this. So it just made me think of other side projects.
And I like it expands on the iconography and the mythology of vampires quite a bit. Like you say, this is our introduction cinematically of the lesbian vampire. It's not. There's a book called Carmilla that even predates Dracula.
Yeah.
That is allegedly an inspiration for this movie and is definitely a lesbian vampire movie. So that trope already existed in literature, but this is the first time we're seeing it on film. And it's the introduction, I think, of the reluctant vampire, like Louis from Interview.
Yeah.
She does not want to be a vampire. She views this as a curse, and we get that cool funeral scene where she has her father's body on the pyre, and
that is really cool.
And she's trying to relieve herself of this curse, and she's hoping that with his death to be free of it. But she can't. She still hungers afterwards.
Yeah. I think that this is this is really cool. The writing is so simplistic. I don't really have much to add about the screenplay.
Yeah.
But I do think that it. I have right in my notes allusion to Sheridan Le Fanu's 1872 novella Carmilla about a lesbian vampire. But yeah, basically this is one of those movies that the plot is so small. Mm-hmm. It is like point A to point B.
Yeah.
Slowly.
Yeah. We're not in a hurry to get there.
Yeah, there's no hurry. They really let every scene breathe.
Yeah. And everyone is because it's a movie about aristocrats for the most part, right?
Yes.
No one is very stressed about anything. No one is under any pressure to be anywhere. These are all people that are sort of living lives of leisure for the most part, going to cocktail parties in the evening and duck hunting in Scotland during the daytime.
It sounds dope. I'm down.
Yeah, I'd love to live a life of leisure. It sounds great to be a British aristocrat or a Transylvanian countess.
Yeah, or baron.
Or baron. Way more chill to be a baron.
Exactly.
Or way more chill to be Sandor, the familiar.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
I love Sandor. He's a really fun character.
Yeah, I liked the familiar concept came back. I thought that was really fun.
He's not maniacal like Renfield. He's just biding his time for when he's gonna be made into a vampire.
Yeah, he's kind of a manipulator. He's a little bit of a backseat driver, but he's trying to be patient because he's been promised immortality.
Yeah.
This is a good character.
Yeah,
more believable than Renfield.
Yeah, Renfield. Does Renfield want to become a vampire? Do we ever?
I don't think he says explicitly, but it seems clear that he wants to be with Dracula forever. It's sort of implied.
Yeah. Sandor is like Guillermo in What We Do in the Shadows. In the early seasons, where he's in this with the understanding that after a certain amount of service, that he will be made into a vampire. Mm-hmm. And that's when he sort of turns on the mistress because she lets on that she's going to have the psychiatrist, Dr. Garth, jump the queue. And she's just going to make him a vampire so she can have an eternal psychiatrist to help her with
It's a perfect plan.
I said it before and I'll say it again. Vampires are lousy with consent. Always. Yeah. Like it is just intrinsic to being a vampire. No one can give like enthusiastic consent because you're always manipulating them. Just being a vampire manipulates humans.
Oh, absolutely.
So it's like, she's like, oh, I'll turn him into a vampire and then I have a therapist at my beck and call. You should actually bump up Sandor, make him into a vampire, and turn Dr. Garth into your familiar. And then you really have a therapist at your beck and call.
Absolutely. Yeah, he becomes just totally beholden. That would be so that's perfect.
Yeah, but I don't know if he could actually therapize her because he's going to just want to say what she wants to hear. But I don't think Dr. Garth is a good therapist anyway. He's certainly not a good boss.
No, Dr. Garth. Dr. Garth is kind of he's like a weird misogynist. He flirts via misogyny. It's like it's called so nagging. Cringy. Like I'm like, oh God, this guy. Ugh. Yeah, I don't like him at all.
Yeah, when we first meet him, and probably we'll talk more about this in the performances, but when we first meet him, he's out in Scotland on like a grouse hunting trip or something, or pheasant hunting. And he's talking to the guy with the theatrical Scottish brogue, and Eddie says, oh, there's a few birds in London I'd like to shoot. And you're like, oh, geez. My first introduction to this guy, and he's already much more villainous than the ostensible villain of the movie. He's fantasizing about killing women back in London. And then his secretary shows up, and she's plucky and awesome and clearly runs his life for him. And he's just hateful to her at every turn.
Yeah, it's a weird relationship because she resigns and he doesn't really accept her resignation. Yeah. It's just he's toxic.
Yeah, it's supposed to come across as playful, and maybe in like 1936 that reads differently than it does now. But now it's like an HR complaint. Like,
absolutely.
You're like, this guy, he said this to me at this date, and he said this to me on this date. I feel like I'm in a hostile work environment, and, you would have a legitimate complaint to file against him.
Dude would be fired. You might even get a lawsuit.
Yeah, for sure. Like, you can't practice psychiatry anymore. Or something to that effect. Yeah.
Or better yet, you make him settle so you get a fat amount of money.
Yep. And control of his business.
Mm-hmm.
Any more thematics you want to talk about? All right, let's get into the visuals. The cinematography is by George Robinson. Art direction by Albert S. D'Agostino. Gowns by Brimmer, just one name, but that is Louise Brimmer. She was a fashion designer of the era. And of course, it's not credited, but the special effects makeup is once again by Jack Pierce.
I do like the makeup. I think they make her look cool.
Yes. Countess Zaleska and her familiar Sandor look like Vampira and Zaccarelli, who are like kind of the two originators of the horror host thing. They clearly, their makeup is influenced by these two characters.
Yeah. I mean, when you see her, you think that's definitely Dracula's daughter.
Yeah. The eyebrows and the cool black gowns. And
she just looks awesome. And then you see Sandor and you're like, he's definitely a familiar.
Yeah. He's got a long belted tunic. He doesn't seem to belong to any time period.
Yeah, he's just nebulously
it's
weird.
A black and white movie, but you feel like this guy has never seen the sun, or at least not for like 20 years. And he's got this sort of greasy like look to him, like a cellar dweller,
Yes.
And yeah, these are not... you don't see a whole lot of these characters, but I think their look was extremely influential. Every sort of like gothic diva after this, from Vampira, Morticia, Lily Munster,
Elvira,
just
our local hero.
On and on. Yeah, she is local now. On and on has bit the makeup from Countess Zaleska.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I was reading how they were, even though this is black and white movie, they were using like grays and greens and things in order to get the right tones for the deathly pallor. Yeah. And I think that's really cool because it really changed the way she looked compared to the the living people.
Yeah, she
didn't look like them. For sure.
And we have sort of we have this cocktail party with all the Richies, where she kind of makes her introduction, and everyone's, have you heard about the Transylvania Countess? countess that's in town, and everyone's all intrigued by her. And she comes in, and in a room full of rich people, she looks like something else. Like, she has something otherworldly, or just exotic about her compared to everyone there.
Yeah, and her hair is like slicked back. She's got a bun.
Yeah.
And it kind of, it's very reminiscent of Dracula. And she just looks, with the cool guys slick their hair back. That's just a known thing. It's a very important look. So I think that the costuming was amazing because they really set these characters apart, and the makeup and the hair and all that stuff was really good.
Right.
But I want, like, whenever I watch a vampire movie, I always think, like, the cinematography is going to be really good, because this is how you make a spooky-ass vampire. Like, like all the Nosferatu movies, the cinematography is sick. Yeah. Like Sinners, Oscar winner. For vampire movies know how to do cinematography. Yeah. Not really this one. It's just boring AF.
Oh man, I didn't think so. I thought this movie looked good.
It looked good, but there was nothing interesting, nothing to chew on. It was basic.
You mean like in the sort of camera movement?
Oh yeah,
stuff like that.
The chosen angles. There's none of the like cool movie tricks that we know they can do in this era. Yeah,
yeah. There is a couple scenes, I think, that have really good cinematography, like that's the funeral pyre scene.
Yeah, that's true.
I think it's shot really well. But you are right. There is not a ton of it. There's another cool dolly shot where like the camera circles around the back of the Countess and kind of circles the room. I forget which sequence it is. But there is a lot of more flat, less interesting stuff.
Yeah, like
a lot of the
Dracula, basic.
A lot of the stuff in the hospital, I guess, is pretty flat and uninteresting. And I feel like there's reused sets there. Like I feel like the lab at the hospital is the lab from Werewolf of London. I'm almost certain.
And they reused some Dracula sets.
Oh, for sure. The castle, the Carfax Abbey is reused. The European Village, which features in most of these movies, is used. But they don't. It's got like German signs. Like they don't reface it to be in Romanian. They just leave it in German because good enough.
Nobody knows.
Yeah. And because I felt like this is the same village from Frankenstein. Yeah. Which, we find out the village is called Frankenstein, I guess, right? It's Son of Frankenstein. It's clearly the same village, not even redressed.
Yeah. And that's fine. It's of the era. Like these are actors with a salary. They're going on sets that are they're making movies, movie by numbers, Legos, assembly line, whatever you want to call it. This is not like artistic filmmaking at its height.
Yeah, no, I think that's probably a fair criticism of it. And like we said, they want Carl Laemmle Jr., the head of the studio, wanted James Whale to do this, and James Whale having already done 4 iconic Gothic horror movies similar to Holden, the lady playing Zaleska, she does not want to be typecast. So it's missing that Whale flavor.
Yeah.
And it's, like you said, it's a little more journeyman directed. They
should have got a German to do it. Because German expressionism, this just the way.
Yeah. There's a lot of German names. As we read these credits, there is a lot of German people involved in this. People had been getting the heck out for a little while already. Anything else you wanted to mention there?
No. Okay. I think it's pretty simple. These early movies, there's not a lot to chew on.
Yeah. Audio, the music is by Heinz Rohmheld, who is actually American, which surprised me when I looked at his Wikipedia. He's born in California, I think, and I was like, I thought for sure with that name this guy was another German expatriate. And then the sound supervisor is Gilbert Kurland. I like the score to this movie. I almost wish we'd covered these movies more in order, because you go from Dracula with literally no score at all.
Yeah.
And just gradually music has been introduced kind of more and more, movie to movie. More original music is being introduced. And by the time we're here in 1936, they're composing like whole scores for these films finally.
Yeah, and I like the string heavy score.
Yeah, a lot of cello.
It's really good. Like, I think that there was something to it. This is pretty good music.
Yeah, I like it. It's very melancholy. It suits the Countess, and her
absolutely.
mood. Like, it captures how she feels. Like, the music is it's her soundtrack more than it is the soundtrack of the film. It's her soundtrack of her mood and where she is at at whatever point in the film.
Yeah.
And the sound, just to compare it to the last Universal movie we did, the Mummy, it sounds like $1 million compared to the Mummy, which sounds like garbage. Like, it sounds awful.
Yeah, sadly. The Mummy was just, it wasn't good.
I had to crank the stereo up just to hear the Mummy, and this actually sounds properly recorded.
Yeah, I think that I don't think that this music is what I would call iconic, but it's definitely serviceable, and it's an upgrade from other films nearby chronologically.
Right. It doesn't but it never like we've mentioned a few times, the movie is overshadowed by The Bride of Frankenstein. That kind of shows it up in every way.
I would argue that this movie has something that The Bride of Frankenstein doesn't.
Oh, I think I agree.
A woman gets screen time.
Yeah, and dialogue.
It's about a woman, and it stars a woman.
Yeah.
Crazy.
She has a character.
Yeah.
She has she doesn't just show up, hiss a couple times, and die spectacularly. She is present through basically the whole film. You are absolutely right. That is the thing that Dracula's daughter has over The Bride of Frankenstein. Dracula's daughter is the focus of the movie.
Yeah, and I've said some negative things about the movie so far.
And I guess we're transitioning into casting.
Yeah. Yeah. I do think that Gloria Holden as the Countess was awesome. She was good. Yeah. Genuinely good. At first I thought she was a little stiff.
Yeah.
And then I thought about it and I was like, Dracula's pretty stiff.
Dracula is pretty stiff.
Yeah, she's actually doing a good job. Yeah. She's not supposed to be Louis. You know, not every sad vampire is the same.
Yeah. They contain multitudes, for sure. I think she is really good. I think she looks incredible. I think she brings just a whole ton of pathos to this character. And, you empathize with her. You kind of when she's now, after she burns Dracula's body, and she's like, now I'm free. And Sandor's like, yeah, we'll see tomorrow when the sun goes down how free you are. And she's like, oh yeah, we will. Tomorrow I'm not going to go out and feed. Tomorrow she goes out and feeds. She cannot resist doing it. And then she's like, damn it. I thought for sure this would free me of the curse.
Excuse me.
So you empathize with her throughout this movie. I don't really root for her at any point, but I do empathize with her and her struggles.
Yeah, I think that the actress's disdain for the role elevated the character and made it interesting to watch.
Yeah. It's weird that it worked out that way, but I think that's absolutely true.
Because she didn't have a lot to work with, so kind of her, I guess, sneering compliance was interesting.
Yeah. So some of the things, there was in earlier drafts, there was bondage gear in her, like in her apartment and like her art studio and things like that.
So someone's going to remake this at the 100 year and make it like proper.
So when I don't know, you usually watch things on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
So I watched it on Amazon, and when you search Dracula's daughter on Amazon, the first thing that comes up is like a low budget remake from 2020 that looks like a porno movie. Like, I just watched the preview of it, and it's the start of the sequence with the Countess and the girl when she's having her disrobe to paint her picture or whatever.
Or whatever.
Yeah, or whatever happens. Yeah. But it full on looks like a porno, and that is the quality of acting in it. That is the quality of cinematography in it. And I was like, oh, God, I hope David doesn't accidentally watch this one because he's going to think I'm crazy.
Well, you said 1936.
Yeah, so when it was in color and was a porno, that would have tipped you off.
Yeah. You're like, be like, damn, 1936 was advanced.
You're like, well, I'm in for a penny and for a pound. I have to watch this whole porno now.
Yeah, I mean, whenever we're doing old movies, especially classic monsters or whatever, I always include the year in the search terms. Yeah. Otherwise, you just get whatever. Well, there's like a million Frankensteins and
there's
Draculas.
A million Dracula movies. It's pretty crazy. So the next person I have in my notes here is Otto Kruger as Dr. Jeffrey Garth, unethical psychiatrist.
Yeah.
Have we had a movie with a psychiatrist that wasn't garbage yet?
Not that I can think of.
Kind of like the guy in Halloween, but I'm not sure he's ethical because he outright declares Michael Myers as evil.
He is
although
evil,
Michael
though.
Myers is evil. So that maybe is fair. But
yeah.
Just as you just want the psychiatrist not to say that. Yeah. Otto Kruger, the performance is fine, but I hate this character so much.
Yeah, I think that his banter with his assistant is so ridiculously off-putting. I'm just like, I hate you so much. You're an abusive boss.
Yeah.
I can't stand you. Anybody that's ever had a bad boss that was a narcissist, that's this guy.
Yeah, and it's like, again, the introduction to him was that there's some birds back in London I'd like to shoot line. And it's very much like a take my wife, please sort of joke. It's that old, like, sort of woman-hating, misogynist humor that is, I mean, still exists, but was prevalent all through the 20th century. And it's immediately off-putting. Like, it just, like, I'm against this guy from the moment we meet him. And we're supposed to think he's, like, loose and funny, I think.
Yeah.
But that's not the message that I get from him.
It's funny because, like, I always associated with that, like, misogynistic humor. I always associated that with boomers. But it just seems clear that it was in the media when they were growing up.
Yeah.
And so it became part of the zeitgeist. Yeah. Nowadays, that's not cool. Like, nobody does that in the media. Like, people making fun of their wife and stuff. That's
I think the manosphere is bringing that back, right?
Well, like, I'm not tapped into the manosphere.
No, thankfully. Neither am I. But, yeah.
Too busy watching horror movies from 100 years ago.
Yeah.
90 years ago.
Yeah. So I just did not like him. But the counterpoint to that is Marguerite Churchill as Janet Blake, who he just kind of offhandedly says she's a baroness. You know, right at the beginning.
Randomly.
He's like, well, I think you're taking liberties that a secretary wouldn't normally take because you're a baroness. And it's like, why are you working at all for if you're a baroness? Yeah,
why are you the secretary for just like rando doctor guy if you're a baroness?
Yeah.
You have a barony.
Yeah. You should be, but I think inexplicably, she has designs on marrying this man who treats her badly.
That's why she's there.
Yeah.
She's inserting herself in his life.
Yeah.
That romance never convinces anybody.
But
it's terrible.
She's the only one that can tie his bow tie.
I know. The housekeeper can't be forced to take care of the man baby.
Yeah, the housekeeper's too afraid to tie the bow tie. It can only be the Baroness secretary / vampire victim.
It's just straight up bad writing with some of these characters.
Yeah, half-baked. And, you have to judge a film by the film you have and not the film that was supposed to have been made, right? But you do have to wonder what the earlier versions of the script before it's been screwed and chopped 3 or 4 times,
or the extreme James Whale versions.
Yeah, there's the Keystone Cops of it all. That feels like James Whale. There are moments in this movie that feel completely James Whale.
I wonder if those Whale versions are available in script form.
Yeah, I don't know,
because that would be really interesting.
Or even just the original Balderston draft, or the pre-revisions draft from who was the credited writer? Garrett Fort. Fort's final draft of the movie that was submitted to the censors and rejected. That's probably out there where you could find it, I would think.
Yeah.
Who do you got next?
Irving Pitchell as Sandor. This is
just make him a vampire already. This poor guy.
This is like low-key the secret weapon of the movie. Yeah. I really like Gloria Holden's performance, but I think this guy as the person she's playing off of and vice versa, he really brings that character to life.
Yeah, because he's not a Renfield who is sniveling and wretched. Sandor is proud. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Sandor is more like a butler than he is like a toady.
Yeah, he's kind of an Alfred sort of character.
Yeah. He takes care of business. He clearly he can, he's good with a bow and arrow, right?
Yeah.
He can protect her while she's sleeping.
That's why she can't embrace him. She needs daylight protector.
Yeah, that's why you get Dr. Garth.
Or you just straight up you familiarize, whatever the term to actively make someone familiar, Helsing.
That would be a twist. You can't imagine he'd be pleased about it. But what's he gonna do?
Yeah, he just begged to become a vampire. But that's what you do.
If you keep fucking with vampires as a occupation, eventually the one's gonna kill you or enchant you or something.
I love that. She flashes the ring. Van Helsing's like, oh, and then she looks over at Sandor. She goes, "It's your lucky day, buddy. You're getting replaced."
That'd be a twist. That would be a real twist for the mythology. I really liked him, and I totally agree with you that he is the secret weapon of the movie. You need a guy like that, and he sort of moves things along and wraps it up at the end, because he's the one that kills the Countess at the end. He also decided when the movie was over.
Yeah, I mean, rest in power, Countess.
Yeah, absolutely. Who do we got next?
We got Van Helsing, played by Edward Van Sloan.
Yes.
I like Van Helsing as a character. He's like or Von Helsing, or whatever.
Yeah, they call him Von Helsing in this true Dutch style. There's no consistent spelling to the name. Researching my genealogy, everyone's name has 4 different spellings.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely consistent that he would write Von Helsing sometimes and Van Helsing other times, and that would just be fine. That's just how they roll.
Yeah. I like the character of Helsing in pretty much everything, and I like this one too.
Yeah, Edward Van Sloan, if Sandor is the secret weapon of this movie, Edward Van Sloan is the secret weapon of all of these movies.
Yeah.
Like, he is that guy, the wise elder in almost all of these movies, and I always am happy to see him.
Yeah, I mean, he's the best Helsing all the way up until Hugh Jackman takes the mantle.
I was thinking about ranking Van Helsing's just like real quick between we got Edward Van Sloan, we've got Peter Cushing, of course.
Oh yeah, Cushing is hard to beat.
Yeah. Who else do you have? You have Anthony Hopkins in Coppola's Dracula. Sort of Willem Dafoe from Nosferatu.
Yeah.
It's a different name. It's the whatever, the Nosferatu knockoff of Van Helsing, but it's that character. These are some of my favorite guys. Period.
Yeah, I think Cushing might be the best one.
Yeah, probably, but I really like Anthony Hopkins, and I really like
Van Sloan,
and I really like Willem Dafoe. Is my favorite actor.
Yeah, Dafoe is great. He's up there.
Yeah, so we've got a lot. I mean, sorry to Wolverine, but he's probably the bottom of the barrel.
Yeah, he's probably pretty low.
He's way down there. The guy, I can't remember the name of the actor from Monster Squad, is probably above Hugh Jackman.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
I don't think I've seen Monster Squad.
Oh boy, one of these days we should probably watch Van Helsing, give it a fair shake instead of just crapping on it,
and Infinity style,
and rewatch Monster Squad, which I haven't seen for like 20 years, probably. Probably.
Are they related? I mean, no. Okay,
no, not at all. But yeah, it's been a minute since I've seen either of them, so maybe one is better than I remember, and maybe one is worse than I remember.
Yeah, maybe it's not terrible.
No, I'm sure it's terrible. But it has a cool werewolf in it. Van Helsing does
true.
And a cool Frankenstein's monster. There's some merits to Van Helsing.
We'll have to give it a shot.
But we're not talking Van Helsing, we're talking Dracula's daughter. Nan Gray as Lily, the girl that she seduces at her art studio.
It's kind of a brief appearance in the movie, but it's spirited. It's good.
And she has a long kind of scream queen career as being
nice.
A girl who is victimized by monsters. In many movies.
She later came back for The Invisible Man Returns.
Yeah. She's got a good scream, and it's pretty racy. Like when she gets drops her camisole off her shoulders, I'm like, whoa, 1936. I didn't think you could do this anymore.
Yeah, crazy time. That's pretty much the whole cast. I mean,
yeah, we've got like Billy Bavin as Constable Albert, and E.E. Clive as Sergeant Wilkes are kind of our two Keystone cops. You know, Constable Albert is the buffoon of the two, and
the inspiration for Benny Hill.
Yeah, and Wilkes is the straight man. It's very silly, but it works, and for whatever reason, that is the incompetent police and patrolman or whatever is a trope that comes up again and again in these horror movies. So
I think that's just true to life.
That the constable is a buffoon.
Yeah.
It's
just a nepo position.
It's like of all the people that get hypnotized, he's the one that like falls over when they walk in. He's a competent buffoon.
Absolutely. Comedic actor.
He plays the clown role fairly well. So what's your personal highlight? So
I was searching.
Okay.
And I decided to go with historical significance.
Oh, interesting. That's a interesting take. Okay.
I went with Lily's seduction scene because this is the first lesbian vampire sequence in cinematic history.
Yeah.
It's important because it's a trope forever in vampire mythology. It's It's also, I would say, tastefully done. It's got the actresses are both doing a great job. Yeah. The set is great, the candlelit studio and all this stuff. I just think that this is a true vampire scene. It could have been any gender of vampire and their victim, and I feel like both performers did a good job, and it had a historical significance. So I'm choosing that one. And honestly, because none of these scenes razzle-dazzled me.
Okay.
There wasn't one that was just like, wow, he's out. That's so great.
Yeah.
This one was like, this is a well-done scene. And it's also a sexy scene, but it's a historically significant one.
Yeah, and it is all down to their performances.
Yeah, because it's not graphic or anything.
Yeah,
it's all like mood. It's all vibes.
And I think that actually is the sequence where the camera sort of circles around her in a really interesting way.
Yeah,
like it's evocative of like the way a cat sort of stalks a mouse. Like the camera is stalking the girl also. Yeah,
this is a scene that actually makes it feel like a vampire movie and not like a telenovela.
Yeah. It is one of the only memorable scenes in the movie.
So what about you? What's your highlight?
I'm going to go with the other memorable scene, in my opinion.
Snap.
Which is...
the opener with Van Helsing.
That one is... Okay.
I'm just kidding.
There is a few more memorable scenes. But no, it's what I call the funeral scene. Where she...
That's awesome.
The funeral, like the flames look really cool. And like she's performing these rites in the cemetery over the body while Sandor stands there, and like she kind of I don't know she bless is not quite the right word, but maybe consecrates the body with a cross.
Yeah.
But she's a vampire; she can't look at the cross, right? So she like holds it up and averts her eyes while she does the sign of the cross over the body. And I just thought I thought I was in for a real treat because this is early on in the movie. And I was like, oh, this movie's coming in hot. Like this, it's got a lot to show. And the rest of the movie doesn't quite live up to this early sequence. But I think that scene in particular just looks really cool. And it looks like what you think of Universal horror. You're in a cemetery and there's fire and there's a pretty lady and a ghoul and a arcane rite being performed. It's just proper gothic horror vibes, and I thought that was a really cool scene.
I agree. I thought this movie was coming in hot. I was like, this one's going to be a banger. Nope.
And then and then we go. Oh, it's because, and we'll talk more about this. It's because we go from Van Helsing and Zaleska and Sandor to Dr. Garth, and the momentum of the film just like goes off a cliff.
Absolutely.
But that's premature. Now we're talking about what worked for you.
All right. Gloria Holden's performance is top tier for this film. Yeah. I feel like it elevates what would otherwise be a mediocre script into being a pretty decent film.
Yeah.
I love the historical nature and I guess the precedent set by this. First one is the reluctant vampire trope. Yeah. Without the Countess, there's no Louis, there's no Angel, there's no Edward Cullen. It just goes on. Yeah. This is a thing, and she started it on film. I mean, in literature, whatever. But she's who you see being the beautiful. I don't want to be a vampire, and that
it's the skin of a killer, Bella.
Yeah, exactly. Like this is the genesis of that whole thing.
Yeah.
I think that this movie is super queer, super gay. Could
be gayer.
I mean, they rejected the gayer versions.
I know.
And I think that that's good because Hollywood's pretty gay. Mm-hmm. Being representative of the place and the time and all of that, it's daring in this, like Depression era time frame. I thought that It's bold filmmaking, and I liked that.
Yeah.
And ultimately, I think that the relationship between Sandor and Zaleski, that dynamic, that like somewhat toxic codependence, it really elevated an otherwise mediocre script.
Yeah.
So what about you?
First thing, we've mentioned this already, but I'm going to say it again. The Countess has lines.
Yeah.
She has pathos. She has an actual character. Unlike the Bride of Frankenstein, who does a cameo in her own movie.
Yeah.
The Countess is the star of this movie, and that is a welcome change. Number two, it's got the classic Universal aesthetics, the Countess and Sandor's makeup, but also like the gowns, the costumes, the art direction by D'Agostino. I think the sets look cool. I think everyone looks very cool and proper Universal horror style in this movie. And I think there's interesting subtext. This is something that you just said, but it has the queer subtext to it. It has a metaphor for addiction. It is as subversive and edgy as they could get away with in the Code era. And, you know, and like you said, I also wrote here, it's the introduction of the reluctant vampire trope. You have a vampire and she doesn't want to be a vampire. She's not trying to pass her curse along. She's trying to free herself of her curse.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting take that you would not have seen at this point in 1936. What didn't work for you?
All right. The comedy relief policemen were excruciating to watch. It was painful.
Good job hiding that, because I figured you felt that way, but I had not got the impression throughout this discussion that you felt that way.
The thing is that it wasn't bad enough to make me rant about it, because I do like to rant. I was just like, move along. I'm picking up my phone now.
Yeah. They outstay their welcome very quickly.
Absolutely. It's just not funny. The Garth and Janet romantic stuff that's
in quotes, yeah.
It's so bad. It's painful. It's absolutely I already used the word excruciating.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just sucks. And it's like, I want to get back to the spooky gal.
Yeah.
I'm done with these idiots.
Yeah.
And I'm just not into it. I thought that they were boring. This movie is 71 minutes, and that is about 36 minutes too long. It's like, seriously, there's like a little over half an hour worth of content here.
Yeah.
If you cut the crap. This is an episode of a Dracula series.
Right.
It's really just not enough content, because you have so much skippable content.
Yeah.
The end is balls. It comes out of nowhere, and it's not satisfying.
It must be very easy to charter a plane to Transylvania from London.
Oh, yeah.
So you can do three, right? Because then doesn't Van Helsing come on the next one?
Yeah.
Literally 3 back-to-back planes. Like, they're just lined up there. She takes off in a plane. Dr. Garth takes off in a plane after her. And then Van Helsing and the inspector take off after them.
It just makes no sense. The ending of this movie shit the bed properly.
Yeah.
It didn't end right. It's like, okay, you have 70 minutes or whatever, 60 minutes at this point of talking, slow build drama.
Yeah.
You need to have something happen that is in that wheelhouse. We have, the promise of the premise. We need to have something dramatic happen, and that's when it ends. I don't even think the Countess should die at the end of this movie. Something should happen. Like, nothing happened. This movie accomplished nothing.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. So, Sandor shoots the Countess with the bow. and Dr. Garth shoots Sandor with his gun, and Van Helsing shows up just in time to narrate what happened, and that's the end. Roll credits.
And there's no satisfaction of any of it. Like, it doesn't feel like the Countess hasn't done anything that makes you actually like feel like good or satisfied when she dies.
Yeah,
you're actually just like, oh,
yeah.
Come on, why, dude?
And that's why I said earlier about Sandor that he's the one that decides that the movie is over.
Yeah.
Because it is almost just like he decided the movie was over. She needs to die so the movie's over, and so he shoots her. It's just for the pure mechanics of ending the story.
Yeah, this was very clearly a slap chop of a script.
Yeah.
And it's not right.
It's what can happen when you start shooting before you have a locked script.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that you're writing as you go. You're writing new scenes to bridge in between.
Yeah, to justify weird positions and ends and stuff.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
So what about you? What didn't work?
A lot of the same stuff. The toxic dynamic between Dr. Garth and his secretary Janet. I don't find this shit cute. I hate this. And at the end, like you talk about how the movie just sort of fizzles out at the end. When he gets there,
I believe I said shit the bed.
It shit the bed, yeah. It shizzles out. When he gets there, and like he runs over to her, like to rescue her right after. Well, he doesn't kill the Countess, right? So he doesn't. Sandor rescued her. Essentially, he didn't even rescue her. And he runs over there, and they have this embrace, like they're in love with each other. And we've just never seen that demonstrated by their actions or performances throughout the entire movie. So when they're like, oh, like, let's get married or whatever they say, it just falls flat because you could care less if these two people get together. Like, I didn't want her to die, but I also didn't want him to live.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I'm ambivalent to her and hostile to him is sort of my feeling about the two characters. And they're supposed to be like the heart of the movie, and they just aren't.
Yeah, no, they're a side quest and they're annoying.
Yes. Too many revisions. I think the script has just been cut down and reworked so many times that you're left with like a bed sheet that you can see light through. It has been cut down to something so thin it's barely functional as a narrative. It's got scenes, it's got a few cool sequences that you're stringing together with the bare bones of a narrative, just to get you to the set pieces. And
Absolutely.
there's not enough cool set pieces that you forgive the weak linking content. And then finally, they keep Van Helsing benched for like almost the whole movie, and he's a character we know, we're already invested in, and he's a character that drives. He's an action-oriented old man, right?
Absolutely.
He's someone that takes action, knows what's up, can move the plot along, and they just like underuse him in a way that's very detrimental. He's at the very beginning in a really memorable way, and then he shows up at the end to kind of put the period at the end of the sentence. And the whole middle of the movie needed Van Helsing to be moving it along.
Van Helsing is the glue of a Dracula movie.
Yeah.
You need the smart guy pursuer who's explaining the moves.
Right.
It greases the wheels.
Yeah, because Dr. Garth, he has the connection to Van Helsing, right? Because for whatever reason, Van Helsing wants Dr. Garth to represent him in court, which is absurd. It's just a way to get Dr. Garth into the story. But Garth just bumbles along through this story. He's never a motivator to it. He's something that the events are happening to and around. And that's just not ever satisfying. I mean, no. The one, like, there's rare exceptions, like The Big Lebowski, where you can have a guy that bumbles through his own movie, and that is actually sort of the point of the character, that these things are happening and he's reacting to them. But Dr. Garth is no dude.
Oh God.
He's not someone like you said. He's not an iconic character that shows up like Han Solo, fully formed,
yes.
and you're like, I love this guy. Like, as soon as you meet him, he's exactly the opposite. You're like, I hate this guy, and we're stuck with him for the whole movie.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just a long way of reiterating a lot of the same things that you said.
Totally agree.
So we've laid out the good and the bad.
Mm-hmm.
What are your final thoughts and rating?
This is a tweener. It's another one of those tweeners.
Yeah.
It's tween 2 and 3.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna give it a 3. I think that the Countess is an iconic character, and she laid the groundwork on film, and she is she's a vampire, a woman vampire icon, and a queer icon, and her story. If you just trim the cops and you trim the annoying side couple, and you just made a story really truly focused about her
from her point of view.
Yeah, if it was like a close third person perspective about her journey with struggling with her curse and not wanting to feed on these ladies, but feeling like she has to, like an addict, and you really dig into it. I really feel like there was something there, and that's a lot of like if, ands, and whatevers. But I feel like there's a nugget of something good there. That if you're interested in women vampire, queer-coded movie from the 30s, this is great. If you're not if you're a general audience, it's probably not for you. But I think there's a lot of people who like vampire movies in general. Like if you watched Sinners and you were all about it, you might find something here.
Some earlier seeds that are leading to the stuff that you have grown, that you love later.
It's definitely in the DNA. Coogler has seen this movie.
Certainly. And Guillermo del Toro has seen this
absolutely
movie. You know what I mean? You could say there's a lot of people. Anne Rice has fucking seen this movie.
She stole heartily from it.
Like there's a lot of people this movie had a big effect on. I think.
So what about you? What'd you rate it?
I'm in the same boat. I'm coming down with 3 stars, but it is because of the significance of the movie more than the quality of the whole movie holistically. It has like 2, maybe 3 really cool moments in it, a lot of filler, but the good moments are important to the genre, and they're important enough that I think it squeaks out a 3, and you should watch this if you are a fan of these films. It should not be skipped over.
Oh, totally agree. I think that this is if you're trying to deep dive the canon of Dracula, even though this is not about Dracula, he did.
Lugosi, they paid him to come in, and they made a wax bust. So he got a check off of this, and didn't shoot at all.
This is still a definitely watch. I think that's there. So we got 73% on Rotten Tomatoes,
high,
6.3 on IMDb, and a 3.1 on Letterboxd. So we're straight up.
We're in the ballpark.
I think Letterboxd should just drop the decimals. But what are you going to do?
Well, I mean, because people can do fractions.
Sure.
And if you pay like for the premium account, you can do quarter stars. Even. So
quarter stars, just vomit, no go.
All right. Well, when we roll the music, and we'll come back with our final segment. Before we delve into the Vault of Darkness, we ask that all initiates of the cult follow us on your favorite social media platforms at Nightshade Cult.
If you've enjoyed this content, help us grow the cult by sharing it with like-minded people and leave us a review wherever you listen.
Did you have any dark tidings?
No, nothing new.
Let's roll our dice.
Roll it off. 2.
19.
Dang.
All right, so I'm pulling a recent Amazon TV show out of the vault.
Oh.
And it felt tangentially connected to the genre in that right alongside the gothic horrors, there is a literary character that seems to rub shoulders aesthetically and thematically with the horror movies always, and that's Sherlock Holmes.
Oh, I've started watching that.
You started watching that?
I'm not through the whole thing yet.
So I'm going to pull out Young Sherlock, the television series created by Matthew Parkhill and developed by Peter Harness and Guy Ritchie, inspired by Andrew Lane's Young Sherlock Holmes book series, which is like a YA book series about a teenage Sherlock Holmes. It does not adapt those books. I looked through the synopses of the various books in that series, and the show does not really fall in the timeline in a place that would make sense with those books, and it's really just adapting the concept of there being a young Sherlock Holmes, which is well tread territory, as there is like 2 other TV series called Young Sherlock from the past, and a movie from the 1980s called Young Sherlock Holmes. So the what if of like what was Sherlock Holmes doing when he was a young man has been covered thoroughly. But this is an interesting update on it. I mentioned that it was developed in part by Guy Ritchie, who has directed 2 Sherlock Holmes movies, starring Robert Downey Jr. and Jude Law. Mm-hmm. And this feels tonally of a piece with those movies. Aesthetically, the action is very similar, and he directs the first 2 episodes of the series. So it almost functions like a prequel to the Guy Ritchie Sherlock Holmes movies in a way, to me.
Yeah.
And it stars a young man by the name of Hero Fiennes Tiffin, who is Ralph Fiennes' nephew, I think, or
okay.
something like that. And there's actually Ralph Fiennes' brother is in it as well, and Jeremy Irons' son plays what's his name? Mycroft Holmes.
Oh yeah, I really like Mycroft.
Sherlock's older brother. So there's a lot of sort of the younger generation of a bunch of British acting families involved in this. But it's all really good. It's really well done, and we ended up binging all 8 episodes essentially over 2 nights.
Yeah, I think I've watched half of them.
Yeah. And, there's, of course, it's a Sherlock Holmes story, so there's mystery, but this is, or there's kind of 2 mysteries that intersect with each other, or two main mysteries that are intersecting with each other. But this is a Sherlock who hasn't got it all figured out yet, and it's sort of learning to be Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
And his, in place of Watson, his assistant or sidekick, you've got James Moriarty, who is classically Sherlock Holmes's nemesis. But we're encountering them in like college days, and he's played by Donnell Finn, and extremely enjoyable performance from
Absolutely.
Donnell Finn. I love the 2 boys together, and just sort of, if you're familiar with either the film, the Sherlock Holmes films, whatever version is your version, or like Basil Rathbone, Peter Cushing, the Masterpiece Theater version, or Benedict Cumberbatch, whatever Sherlock Holmes that you have identified with, this feels like that guy before he was that guy.
Yeah.
Like, you can see how this version of the character is growing into the version that you already know and love. And every time some new piece of, like, some new tool in his intellectual arsenal gets picked up, or someone says something that's one of his catchphrases or whatever, and you're like, oh, that's where he got it.
Yeah.
It's just, it rewards you. If you are already a fan of Sherlock Holmes, the series is very rewarding on that level. But you certainly would not need to be one. You could come into this cold and become a fan of Sherlock Holmes through it.
Yeah, I agree. I think it's fun all on its own.
Yeah.
And, of course, if you've seen the rest, it's good.
Yeah, and the first two, very Guy Ritchie. The action is very Guy Ritchie. There are shotguns fired. There's slow motion, like, fight scenes. It has his vibes all over it. What about you? What are you pulling out?
So I've been listening to an audiobook recently that I think is worth checking out. It's from an author of a TV show you may have heard of called Shadow and Bone.
I have heard of that.
Yeah, and that's like a spooky show. And this is the writer is named Leigh Bardugo, and she put her first, or maybe it's Leah, Leigh. Leigh, I don't know.
Yeah. I think it's Leigh.
She put out her debut novel called Ninth House, and it's a dark academia fantasy. So think contemporary fantasy, urban fantasy, modern day. Happens at Yale University. It follows this young lady named Alex Stern, who is she is recruited to go and be part of one of the secret societies at Yale, the one that is charged with monitoring the occult activities of the other 8 houses, hence Ninth House.
Okay.
And that is called House Lethe. And she is recruited because she can see ghosts.
Oh.
Other people can't see ghosts. And so she is like has this sort of inherent power, and she doesn't know the origin of it. The book explores, it's a murder mystery at its heart. It employs non-linear storytelling, so different chapters happen at different times, like basically before the event and after the event. She's investigating and then leading up to, and so it's like narrowing in from both sides. It's extremely technical to write that kind of story and not give it away. And it's really interesting. Like this author is very accomplished in her storytelling. I give her nothing but props. I actually was listening to it as as like homework for myself for writing contemporary fantasy, because at some point I'd like to do that. And I think that this is a modern book that is extremely followable. Like, it's not tedious at all. It moves right along, but it also takes moments to just kind of be there, and it's got a little bit of cozy to it. Like, it's not cozy fantasy. Right. It's pretty dark. There's some real darkness, but things can't be all doom. They have to occasionally be light. And so there are moments where you chuckle and you laugh, because it's also a fish out of water. This character, Alex Stern. Alex is short for Galaxy. Her mother is a hippie from LA. She's from LA. She's a Hispanic lady. And she's at this all lily white Yale, and she's like a goth, and she's spooky girl, and it's totally fish out of water. And she's got this mentor who's this kind of poster boy Yale white guy, and they have to get to know each other, and you learn he's got kind of a deep story that's interesting, and I just think it's extremely good. It's well written, it's fun, and if you're interested at all in like mysteries, modern, supernatural thriller, that kind of thing, I definitely think you should check out Ninth House.
And this is just the first book in a series, or is this?
It is a series, but there's only 2 books out, so you can catch up real fast. The second book is called Hellbent, and so I've only read the first one, and I'm gonna read the second one, and when the third one comes out, I'll probably get that too. So highly recommended.
Well, it's fun to have things that are actively coming out, so it lets you anticipate something.
Yeah, it's kind of like how I feel about like A Song of Ice and Fire.
Yeah, okay, I'm really waiting for that.
I've been licking my chops
for Winds of Winter for 10 years. Oh boy, so much fun. At least we got Night of the Seven Kingdoms, which was
so good.
Was just a treasure. Loved it.
All right, we'd like to thank you for joining the Nightshade Cult.
And until we meet again, we're wishing you unpleasant dreams.